Hi, my name is Caitlin Moore, and I'm the Financial Literacy Manager here at Union Bank and Trust. And today we're going to be talking about fraud and scams. These are fraud and scams that we're seeing at the bank quite regularly. It's not all encompassing, so you're not going to see every scam that we see, but these are the ones that are affecting the general population. So let's get started. Let's talk about social media scams. So social media scams are happening to every age and in every outlet. We have a couple listed there. It's not all of them, but this is where we're seeing a lot of the scams happen. And how fraudsters are using social media is they're posing as someone that you might know. Let's say, for instance, you have an old friend that maybe you haven't seen for 10 years, but you were friends with them at one point. You knew them personally. You keep in touch over social media. Well, these scammers are using those platforms to hack into these people's sites and then acting as the friend to ask for money. So this friend you haven't seen for in 10 years, but maybe you just continue to talk to over social media, suddenly you're getting a request for money. Well, that request doesn't make sense because they've never asked you for money before. They don't live near you. You're not great friends. You just keep in touch over social media. So those are the times that you need to sit back and ask yourself, is this real? Reach out to that person through another form of contact, whether it's over the phone or in person, but get a hold of them and ask them if it was really them asking you for money. This is key because if it was not them, they need to know and they need to change their security settings on their account because they've been hacked. So it's really important that we communicate with the person that you think you should have been communicating with. But just know that these social media scams are happening. Social media platforms have made it really easy to send money over the app. And so there's kind of this form of currency that's a little bit easier to get to through the app without going to a bank or depositing money into somebody else's account. One of the other things you may see is a scam through social media where people are promising fast cash. So they say, well, I'll send you a $5,000 cashier's check, but I need 3,000 of it back because it would be overpayment. So you keep 2,000, you give me back 3,000. Well, what that is actually doing is the cashier's check they claim to have is not real. And so you're actually sending them back $3,000 of your own money. So that should be a big red flag. Never accept from anyone an overpayment with the promise that you will pay them back for what they overpaid you. That's always the scam. They might also request to have your online banking information, claiming that it might be easier if they just do all the dirty work for you. So definitely keep your eye out for that, and never ever give anyone your banking information over the phone or text. You need to keep your privacy when it comes to banking or your personal information. How to avoid losing money. Never send money to anyone you don't recognize. But with social media, you might think you're recognizing them. And so you need to contact them personally. Give them a call, ask them if it's them. If you do recognize them, call or contact them. And in some cases, your family and friends may have had their social media profiles hacked. So like I've said before, it's really important that you let them know that you had this request, because if they were hacked, they need to change their profile settings. If you suspect a social media scam, stop communicating with the person immediately. This is key. Update your password and security authentication. Sometimes if a scammer is talking to you, even though they're just talking to you, they can get your information. So it's important that you change your password and security measures. Alert the person the scammer is posing as. We talked about that. And if you paid a scammer with a gift card, alert the issuing company. Sometimes they could do stop payment or don't allow those gift cards to actually be processed. So if you could get a hold of the company in which you bought the gift card, and they can also cancel the cards or refund your money. In best case scenario, you're getting your money refunded. If you gave your personal information to a scammer, contact your bank. They're going to do everything they can. I know at UBT, we're going to do everything that we can in order to keep your account private, even if it means closing it and opening up a new one. We hope to prevent doing that, but sometimes that's the best case scenario so that a scammer cannot get into your bank account anymore. We would also suggest freezing your information with the credit bureau. You can do this at any time, and what it means to freeze your credit is that no accounts can be taken out under your name until you unfreeze it. So no loans or accounts can be opened. To unfreeze it, there's some security measures that the credit bureaus require, but that's just to make sure that it's you. So it's really in your favor to freeze your account if you have been dealing with any sort of fraud or scam with your financials. And then if you identified a deposit on your account, so let's say in these social media platforms, if you have money in your account that you didn't know was supposed to be there, we would suggest contacting your bank and the social media platform. So if you need to call them and let them know, they can track down where it came from and hopefully take care of the issue. Moving on to romance scams. So romance scams are often seen on our dating sites. Scammers use other people's identity to create fake accounts. So they have built up a whole personality with looks and interests on a dating site, but the fraudster is behind that image, and they are going to send you flattering messages. They want to make connections. They're going to say all the right things, especially if you have a dating site where you're putting a lot of your interests on there and you're communicating frequently. They're going to say all the right things to gain your trust, and this is a key point. So some of the ways that we see these scammers being effective is they're going to claim to be a doctor or a service member, and a lot of times they're living overseas, so they're not even in the country that you're in. But something will happen, and they're going to need funds, and so they're going to ask you for money because they've gained your trust at this point. So just know that the pattern with the scammers is that they build your trust, and then something comes up and they need money. So you need to ask yourself some questions about why they're doing this and who they really are, and if it's even applicable to the situation that you're in. So they may ask you to send gift cards, give your PIN number so they can get cash, or wire them money. So the gift cards tend to be a scammer's favorite, one of the favorite currencies because it is harder to track, it's harder to shut down. But if you're sending a gift card to someone overseas where that store doesn't even exist, that should be a red flag. That doesn't make sense. It's not applicable to what they're asking you to do. Giving them your PIN number, any banking information should be a red flag. Don't do that. And then wiring them money is what we see a lot, especially large sums of money. Especially if it's an overseas account, there are a lot of federal regulations as to how much you can send. And so we try to keep tabs on that as much as possible, but that will be an outlet in which the romance scammers will use to try to get your money. Never send money gifts or gift card codes to someone you haven't met in person. And as online dating is a very prevalent part of our society, this is happening more and more. This is not new to the way that scammers work, because online dating and online romance has been around for quite a while. So it's very hard to ask you to not send a gift to someone you haven't met in person. But if they came on very strong, like we talked about, and made that connection very quickly, put this all together and think about whether it's applicable for the relationship that you feel that you're in. But when in doubt, call your bank. So this is a big one. Before you even decide to send a gift or a gift card, you may want to call the bank. Not everyone who's listening is a UBT customer, but if you are, I know that UBT loves to answer your questions. Just if it's just an inquiry about little things, we want to answer your question because we want you to have the right information. So when in doubt, just give us a call. We'll direct you to the right person. You can even give me a call. I'll get you to the right department, and they can let you know based on what they're hearing and trends within the banking world if what you're dealing with is actually a scam. So don't hesitate to call us. My information is at the end of this webinar. What to do with romance scammers? It's a lot like the other scams. Stop communicating immediately. Talk to someone you trust and pay attention to what your friends and family say. This is really important. I think a lot of times we want to make decisions on our own and in our own bubble, but our friends and family are removed enough that they can see things that maybe we can't. So if you're in a situation, especially with romance scams, that other people are giving you feedback that goes against kind of what you're thinking you should do, take note of what they're saying, because they're going to see your relationship very differently than you do. If you report a scammer to us, we're going to tell you to report it to FTC, which is ftc.gov/complaint. The feds like to know what's going on so that they can catch people. So we're going to suggest you make a complaint, notify the website or app you were connected on. If anything, maybe they can take that profile down so it's not a real person. If you did send money, contact the company you paid through, whether it was a bank or a store that you were paying through, but contact that company or the social media outlets because they do have a lot of payment options. Contact law enforcement and contact your bank, especially if you gave out your personal information or financial information. Contact the bank so they can put some security measures in place. And update your online banking information. This is just really important in general to make sure that your information is updated, whether you moved or you opened a new account. Keep that stuff current, keep your password current and new so that if you do come in contact with a scammer, it may be a little bit harder for them to get into your account. Let's talk social security scam. So all of the scams that we're talking about today, usually the scammers are targeting a certain type of person, whether it's by age or income level. So for Social Security, we're talking about older folks drawing Social Security. Maybe they've already retired or they have like disability or something like that. So we're talking about a certain type of person, a vulnerable population. And within the Social Security scams, this becomes a very vulnerable population because a lot of times those that are hit with the scam, that are vulnerable to the scam, are those who maybe don't do online banking or don't do certain things that are more current within the banking world. So they become more vulnerable to the scammer. And we're going to talk about this. So some of the things that the scammers do as for a Social Security scam, you're going to get robocalls. You're going to get these automated voicemails saying, call me back, and for the other reasons that we're going to talk about, or they're going to be live calls. So fraudsters are doing these live calls. Maybe the caller ID doesn't come up on your phone. It just says a city and a state or just a phone number or an 800 number. So there's no name attached to it, but they're going to call you that way. And they're also going to claim that there's identity theft or problems with your account. So immediately it's going to be that there's a problem with your account, but they're there to fix it. If there's issues with the account, they might say that there's legal action that can be taken against you, or there's threats of arrest. And they might promise if you just fix the issue now that they can increase your benefits, protect you, or resolve any identity theft. So this combination of there's a problem, it needs to be addressed right now. And if you don't, there's legal action or arrest at the end of this. But if you do, we can increase your benefits or help you out. So these are the things that this is what the phone call is going to sound like. They might demand that you pay them or resolve the issue through gift cards, cash, wire transfer, or internet currency. And I just need you to know that that is not the currency of the Social Security office. They don't take gift cards. They don't take internet currency. They don't take cash. Usually you have to have a cashier's check or a check itself. It would be very difficult to pay in cash unless you're in person. And wire transfers, they just don't do that. So if anything, the way that the scammer wants to be paid should be one of the biggest red flags because it's not the currency in which Social Security office works. How to avoid it? Just know that the Social Security office will never threaten you with arrest or legal action. They won't. They will never tell you that you have to pay a fine. And if you don't, you're going to be arrested. That's not how they work. It's against the rules. So it's not really the Social Security office that's calling you. They cannot promise a benefit increase in exchange for payment. So they cannot increase your benefits regardless of whether you're paid or not. They cannot require a payment through a gift card, wire transfer, internet currency. Just know that that's not the currency of the Social Security office. And they don't send official letters stating that you need to send your personal information back to them. They're not going to do that. So the best thing to do if this happens is stop communicating with the person immediately. If you get a phone call and some of these points are coming up, they're threatening you with legal action, they want gift cards as a payment, you need to just hang up because you can get the Social Security office number and you can call them. Even if the person is being nice to you, you can still say, I'm going to call you back, look up the number, get the number, not from them, but look it up, and then call the office back. Even if you're not talking to the same person, everyone can look at your file and see what's going on, so anyone can help you. So you don't have to talk to that particular person, and that may be a threat that they have. You need to report the Social Security phone scam to this website, and we would direct you to do so if you called the bank. It's oig.ssa.gov. SSA.gov is the Social Security Administration website, so you can go there and there will be links to how to report fraud. If you've already paid the scammer with gift cards, call the issuing company. It may be a lost cause at that point, but if it's early enough, they could do the stop payments to, or the stop payments to the cards. And if you release your financial information or personal information, please call the bank immediately. Again, when in doubt, just call the bank. If you feel like you are falling victim of a Social Security scam, call the bank. We could put some security measures on your account and help direct you where you would need to call next. Let's move on to money mule scams. So these are scammers that recruit victims to move stolen money. So a money mule already has these funds, and we call them, it's dirty money. It's not legal how they obtain this money, but they want to make it clean money. They want to put it back into their bank account without it being detected. So what they do is they recruit victims to move this money, and this is how they do it. They'll give you a story and often offer a work-at-home job, online dating, or prize or lottery. So they'll say, you won this lottery, I'm going to give you this money, but again, you need to give me some of it back. So that's how they move some of the funds. Work-at-home job, that may include a mystery shopper, interns, a money transfer agent. There's actually job titles called money transfer agent. Please never apply for that particular job. You are literally moving dirty money to try to make it clean so that these money mules have their funds without any tracing. Or a tutor. A tutor is another one that we see. Jobs may be posted online through Craigslist and other online platforms that aren't necessarily job focused. So Craigslist does have a job inquiry part, but it's not necessarily where everyone goes to find a job. So if you're finding these job offers in odd areas, like say social media platforms, you might want to take a deeper look into what the job is. You may receive an email that says, we saw your resume online and we want to hire you. This may not be the route in which the website maybe that you did post your resume, that they communicate, or they're just stealing your information. So you definitely want to look into it more when offered some sort of position. One of the things the ads often say is that the companies outside of the US, all the work is done online and you're going to get paid a lot to do a little. Sounds like the American dream, right? To get paid a lot to do very little work. But that's where they get you. They're going to overpay you and then you're going to have to pay them back. And that's how they're moving the money. They're going to ask you for your bank account number or request for you to open up a new account. And they'll give you instructions on how to move these funds. So there's a very particular way in which they do it. You need to pay to get the job. Any job that you have to pay in order to receive the job, that's not a real job. That is a scam. You should never have to pay to be employed anywhere. So please take note of that. You should never have to pay to get a job, okay? And they may ask you to deposit a check and immediately return the funds. So when it comes to checks and the timetable, banks are obligated to make those funds available to you within a certain amount of time, even if the check has not cleared on the other end. And so the fraudster will have you deposit a check and take all the cash out immediately. But by the time that check goes through their account, so the person who wrote you the check, it's not real money. And so you've now taken out cash out of your account before the check has been cleared. And that's how they get you, because there's no money that they're putting in your account. Don't accept jobs that ask you to transfer money. Never send money to collect on a prize or lottery. So the lottery or prize money, they'll often say, well, you need to send us a fee, a processing fee, in order to get your winnings. It's not how it works. And actually, the lottery, I believe, requires a face-to-face contact. So in order to get money, you have to be present. Do not release your online or mobile banking credentials. And if you've already transferred money or released your bank account information, please communicate with the bank. If you suspect a money mule scam, we're going to ask you to report it once again to ftc.gov/complaint. Please call your bank if any of your information has been given, whether it's your banking or personal, and you may need to contact the credit bureaus to freeze your personal information. So as we're seeing with all these scams, how to take care of it is very similar. Call your bank, freeze your personal information, report it to various places for your safety and for other folks' safety. Phishing scams. What is a phishing scam? So in 2019, the FBI Internet Crime Complaint Center reported that people lost $30 million to phishing scams in 1 year. So phishing attempts can happen through email, text messages, and phone calls. So they trick you into releasing passwords, account numbers, and social security numbers. So if you've ever received a text message that you didn't know who it's from, maybe it was a shorter number, it wasn't even 7 digits long or 10 digits long, it was just maybe a 2-digit number with a dash followed by some other numbers. That's often a phishing scam. They may say your credit card didn't work when you tried to pay for something online, you need to contact us, and there's often a link, and the link does not look normal as opposed to a www.ubt.com. There's a lot of letters and symbols in there. That's a phishing scam. That's them text messaging you. You're going to click on this link and it's going to grab all of your information. So that's how folks have been losing money, $30 million last year, to these phishing scams. Once the information is obtained, the scammer could gain access to your email, bank accounts, social media, and a lot of times even just social media is tied to a bank account number. I'm thinking of a couple online social media sites that link your bank account because you can pay through those apps. And so if a scammer gets a hold of your social media site, they also have information to your credit cards or your bank account numbers. Phishing emails and text messages may look like they're from a company you know and trust. So if you ever did get these, call the company. Don't respond via text. You need to call the company. A lot of online shoppers deal with this. Maybe you've bought something online and then you suddenly get a text message saying that that company was unable to receive your payment and that you need to click on this website. Well, just call the company. Call the company and find out if that is true. It's very important that you find the phone number for the company. Do not call the phone number that has contacted you. How to recognize a phishing scam. They often come in forms of emails and text messages with a story behind it, saying your payment didn't clear or there's something wrong with your account. They've noticed some suspicious activity or login attempts. They claim there's a problem with your account. They want you to confirm personal information before maybe they'll ship your product. And they want you to click on a link and then offer a lot of times coupons or free merchandise if you do. So there's a lot of things on the other end that they want you to do in order for them to gain more access to your personal information. These are just some sources on here, and we're going to move into online dating scams, which is a lot like the romance scams, but a little bit different. So has an online love interest asked you for money? It's a scam. This does go along with the romance scams where they're going to build your trust and then something will come up and they're going to ask you for money. If an online love interest has asked you for money, it is likely a scam. Scammers hide behind fake profiles. So you may think that it's your dream person, but they're just hiding behind somebody else's pictures. Signs of the scam. This is a little bit more than what we've talked about with the romance scams. They profess love quickly, claim to be overseas, they ask for money, and they claim the money is needed for an emergency. So they need it right now. So you're working off emotion, you're more willing to give them the money. And they plan to visit, but something always comes up. So that could be another sign that you may not be talking to the person that you think you are, simply because they want to visit, but they can't. There's always an emergency. So should you do? Slow down, talk to the person, talk to someone you trust, rather. Don't let the scammer rush you. Never rush into anything they're asking you to do. Contact your bank if you think you've sent money to a scammer. Report your experience online and report your experience to the websites listed below that we've listed. And more than ever, never transfer money to a scammer from your bank. Never buy them gift cards or wire money. I think that is throughout this scamming presentation that the currency in which somebody is asking you for should be a big red flag if it doesn't apply, especially if somebody's overseas. They're not going to need a Walmart gift card. So sending them Walmart gift cards may not be applicable in that situation. So you just want to look out for how people are asking you to return money and what they're asking you to return. We do have a couple more resources here. Here is my information. So as we close out, like I've said before, UBT wants to help. Whether you're a customer of ours or not, please give me a call. If you have questions about scams or fraud, or maybe someone you know, we can look at what we're seeing in the banking industry and what the habits are and what the scammers are doing on a regular basis. So when in doubt, call the bank. And this goes for any financial service that you may need. We don't want you to be afraid to ask us questions. No question is a silly question. We want to be there for you. We want to help you. We'd love to meet you face to face. We pride ourselves on that we're still face to face banking industry. So please give me a call, send me an email. Would love to talk through some things and point you to the right person that can help you with any of your banking needs or any of your scam or fraud questions. So thank you for your time. We will have more webinars moving forward. But if you do have questions, please give me a call. Otherwise, have a great day, and thank you so much for your time.